boy, it's the return of everyone's favorite character.
See, I think this was a really good episode, not because it developed Rocknaldo in any way, because he didn't really learn anything, but just because of the specific behavior it was going after was great.
So this was Rocknaldo. That's a title, alright. Though to be fair, it is better than what I assumed would happen, which was for Rocknaldo to try to join a rock band. So, in this episode, Rocknaldo is putting out flyers warning about rock people this time. This is his name for, I guess, the monsters the Crystal Gems fight. When Steven explains that he is talking about the Crystal Gems as well, Rocknaldo almost shuts off his blog again, but instead he puts out a video explaining that after learning this, he's going to be a Crystal Gem too. He goes to Steven's place to try and join the Crystal Gems. At first the Gems obviously don't want this, but Steven convinces them that if Rocknaldo really wants to help, he should be able to. He decides to live there for the time, naming himself Bloodstone. He gets annoyed quickly when the focus isn't on Rocknaldo, thinking he can help, and he makes stupid and rude comments about basically everything. Eventually, Steven can't take it anymore and tells Rocknaldo that it isn't about him and that this is his whole life. This causes him to faint from sleep deprivation. The Crystal Gems drag him home. A few weeks later, Steven sees Rocknaldo again, and Rocknaldo apologizes for being a jerk. He wants to pass out flyers to give information about the Crystal Gems. To help, I guess. This episode...
It's better than what I expected a Rocknaldo-centric episode to be, I will say. Because it's about gatekeeping, and it's about helping people all about you, basically. Because they straight up tell Rocknaldo he tried to make it all about him, rather than...
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't... Oh, there's just so much to unpack here. Like, when he's handing out the pamphlets, including to Onion, who just drops out of the sky like a ninja. It's great.
Yes.
But, you know, Steven's, don't say rock people, it's offensive. And then we're now laying out all the bad stuff rock people do that Crystal Gems don't, that Steven can do. And Rocknaldo's like, okay, but you and the Crystal Gems are the good ones. You're not like the bad ones. All this thinly veiled going after this racist shit, like, oh, you're one of the good ones, you're not one of the bad ones.
It's like that scene from Do the Right Thing.
Basically.
I mean, you're not rock. You're more than rock. God damn it.
There's a bit where he says he has to rethink his whole life, and I thought, maybe that means he's gonna do less conspiracy shit, but the episode's only 2 minutes in, so what's going to happen now? I love how when Steven's looking at Rocknaldo's blog, his phone screen is very obviously Tumblr blue. That specific shade of blue. And I adore the face Pearl makes when Steven says there's a new post.
Yes, that was great.
It's fantastic. Oh. But, you know, Rocknaldo, when he decides he needs to rethink everything he knows about the Crystal Gems, can still only sympathize with him when he's making it about him, when he decides he has to be one of them.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Crystal Gem's like, okay, but what we do is actually very, very dangerous to do if you don't have magic powers or a lot of training. Later on in the episode, he starts talking shit about Connie, and he should not be talking shit about Connie. I will end him for talking shit about Connie. I
think that was put in specifically to make sure every single person watching hates him.
Basically. Because she doesn't have magic powers, but she has been training very hard for a very long time. And, you know...
And also because, like Like, even some of the most beloved characters can get some shit from people sometimes. I've never seen a single person say anything but the nicest things about Connie. Every single fan likes Connie.
Everybody loves Connie. But Ronaldo's like, well, why does she get to go on missions and I don't? Because she's a lot more highly trained. Why does she get your mom's sword and I don't? She totally ripped that off from me. Which, specifically in this dynamic, sounds a lot like fake geek boys telling girls they're not real, girls who know more about the fandom and are more invested in well, they're not real fans. Like, it's also it's low-key got a bit of that terrible trend in some movies where, like, the highly trained and highly skilled, super badass female character is there to train the male protagonist.
Yeah.
Where in this case, they adamantly refuse to do any shit like that. All the highly trained, highly skilled female characters around, none of them are going out of their way or wasting their day training Ronaldo.
No.
Who's, swinging his sword about a lot. Not trying to make a pun about that or anything, just, swinging his replica sword around a lot.
Penis.
Yeah. But we don't see him do any training. They mention he's there about a week, so obviously we won't see him all the time, but most of the time what we're shown is him talking shit to Steven. Very quickly gets into a real crystal gem, would or wouldn't. Says the guy who has also giving himself a crystal gem name.
It's his gem Sona.
It's his gem Sona. And it's a lot of it's a reference to cultural appropriation as well. And, Stephen keeps trying to say, I'm really glad that you're interested in us and what we do. You're not one of us. That's fine. That's okay if you want to help. That's fantastic. But, he repeatedly points out Ronaldo makes it all about him, rather than actually learning anything about the crystal gem. Like, he repeatedly overrides things Steven's telling him, or ignores things Steven's telling him about the crystal gems.
Yeah, that did definitely come to mind while watching the episode. To me, I think the real interesting thing about it is that, and I don't know if this is makes us really smart or really confused, but I do think it's interesting that it does all that while a lot of what it does also seems to be very... It seems like a lot of this was also supposed to be kind of a take that to certain parts of the fan base as well.
I think so. Like I said, it's going after a lot of different forms of appropriation, but it's also specifically going against gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Which most fandoms tend to fall into. But
I think it's interesting it does those things while making fun of this fandom specifically. That I find very interesting.
Yeah, it manages not to be particularly dickish about it.
I think the best way to put it is, and I'm not the only one I've seen this before, is, the type of person who is blatantly a dick to people, and then as soon as they try to not be a dick and try to be more supportive, they're just being a dick on the other side of things.
Yeah, because he's not actually trying to be supportive. He wants to be Bloodstone, the cool crystal gem, and fight monsters.
Yeah.
And when Steven calls him out on all this, he just goes, I think you're being very mean to me, Steven. Is that telling me I can't be a crystal gem? Is that love? Is that acceptance? I don't think you're a crystal. He goes straight into tone policing instead of actually acknowledging anything Steven's told him.
Yeah. That was almost like trolling. It was just so absurd.
I know. And again, it's something you see a lot. That is like, oh well, you're being really mean to me for being wrong and kind of a dick. That makes your points invalid somehow. Which, at this point...
I love how Steven actually thought about it for a second, and he's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Because, Steven has every right to be really angry at Ronaldo at this point, because he's been hanging around being a dick for implicitly a week, and he's been talking shit about Connie. He goes, she's just in because she's your girlfriend. Which, again, Stephen getting mad about it isn't played as, well, she's not my girlfriend. That's not the part he's upset about. He's upset that Rocknaldo has been underselling Connie's dedication and skill.
Yeah.
Like, Connie isn't just in because she's Stephen's friend or girlfriend, or...
No.
They don't clearly define what their relationship is other than the best.
Yes.
But she works with them and has Rose's sword because she has worked very, very hard to earn it, and she has. And Rocknaldo absolutely has not. And, then Stephen comes right back and points out, I had to write down this whole bit because I love it. The second it wasn't about you stopped caring. This isn't the Bloodstone Club about making Bloodstone feel good. This is my whole life. And again, this rings of things I've seen a lot of marginalized groups, especially in the US, saying about what bad allies are, which is people supporting things like Black Lives Matter and so on, who make it all about how great they are for supporting Black Lives Matter, rather than actually supporting and protecting black people, basically. And the second they hear something they don't like, or hear it or get reminded that it's not about them, they get, there are these people out there that cause a lot of problems and a lot of harm. And the show and this episode over the 11 minutes gets increasingly obvious about the kind of behavior it's going after.
Yeah.
And then Rocknaldo passes out and Amethyst's just like, you truthed him so hard he died.
That was the best line. He died.
I think is after all this, Rocknaldo doesn't learn anything. Like, he's maybe a little better at the end because he's holding out pamphlets about crystal gems and how we should help them. We don't actually see the inside, so we don't know if he's written anything helpful or not. It's nice that he's still supporting, but what he says is, I realize, even in a group of outsiders, I am an outsider. I am the ultimate outsider. Which basically means what he took from that isn't that he was being a dick to them. He doesn't think his behavior was the problem. It's just innate that he's an outsider. He's an outcast. He thinks that's why they kicked him out, not that he was being a dick. So, essentially, he learned nothing.
Yeah, basically.
He does ask Stephen some more thoughtful questions at the end, but overall, I don't know if we're liable to see a change in behavior from Rocknaldo anytime soon. And maybe it's they want to keep him this way so they can keep using him as a punching bag for this kind of behavior. But
yeah,
it's good to know he's incredibly annoying by design, I guess.
That's kind of the problem is, you can do all this, but that doesn't mean I still don't want to watch a whole episode about him.
No, because he is so annoying.
Like, at least in Gem Harvest, they actually tried to do some character changing. And it was for a new character, even. And also, it had more focus on the characters we actually liked.
Yeah, it had a lot more of the characters we actually like. It introduced Pumpkin Puppy, and Andy did learn something by the end, which led to him coming back to fly Stephen and Greg to South Korea, which was pretty awesome of him.
Yes.
I haven't actually been following, Rocknaldo's actual blog that they make, so I don't know if he's got any commentary about the effects of this episode that's shown if he's learned anything or not. But he still seems set on being cool and special by being the outsider who sees the truth, like every annoying conspiracy fan you've ever met.
Yeah.
I mean, the gems when they were around had a lot of funny bits. I liked Stephen having his whole speech about how they should, if Rocknaldo wants to learn about them, they should totally welcome him and encourage that. And Amethyst and Pearl don't look into it, but then Garnet just starts clapping slowly. So that Amethyst is like, yeah, let's do this.
I like when he was going to shut down his blog again, Amethyst was just making fun of him and just reading it aloud. That was great.
I also think it's cute that Stephen listens to, meditation music to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And it features a rabbit singing.
Oh, someone pointed out that you could actually make a case that that's a callback to the beginning of Garnet's universe.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it is. I also love Amethyst Ronaldo impression when they drop him off sleeping in front of the fireman's place. And then
Pearl's like, that was really good!
And then the three of them do this epic sky leap, and then they just jump a few feet away and then walk up the beach.
Yeah, like, what was the point of that?
Also, tell me, that's Rough Buddy better have been an Avatar reference. Steven tells him this whole weird story about he is his own mom, and Ronaldo's just like, that's Rough Buddy. I mean, at least his first girlfriend didn't turn into the moon.
I like how Steven summed up their latest mission as fighting monsters, sharing emotions.
Yeah, that is what they do.
Yep. Like, imagine this great emotional scene that we'll never see.
This epic fight that we'll never get to see, because instead we had to watch Ronaldo being salty about not being taken along.
Yes. I did love when Pearl didn't get his gem name right.
It's like, she calls him like Blood Fry.
Blood Fry, and then Fry Rocco.
Yeah. I mean, I can't mock him for the shiny replica sword, because I have 2 replica swords hanging on the wall in my room. And I can't acknowledge that they're more likely to whack a juice box like a golf ball than actually cut anything.
That was also great. He got the sword at Delmarva Karn. From the greatest anime ever. I can't believe my stepdad's my sword.
You know, if you tell me that's not the premise of an actual anime, I wouldn't believe you. That has to be the premise of an actual anime.
Maybe it's a weird spin-off of Soul Eater. And it does sound like an actual anime title by being stupidly long.
So much. Oh, I forgot there was a great bit where Ronaldo's going on about how real crystal gems don't need to sleep, and Steven's eye just starts twitching.
Yeah. Steven, just slowly lost all his patience for this.
Yeah. And I kind of love how little shit Steven's taking these days, too, because he is still that kid that loves everyone and accepts everyone, wants to help everyone, but he's recognizing when someone's being a dick and not putting up with it a lot quicker.
Yeah.
This kid's like the living embodiment of do no harm, take no shit, and I love him for it.
Yes.
I don't have a lot more to say about this. Please let's not have any more Ronaldo-centric episodes for a very long time.